We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Stroll, George Russell and Vettel. Albon, Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty. Perez, the owner driver. Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo. Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Lando Norris, Latifi, Ocon, Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Can we talk about Mercedes? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please. Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected. Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out. Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Okay, the energy store's approaching its limits. We're going to be forced to retire if we're not careful. Make sure to discharge your battery properly. Okay, the start was fine. Let's try and move forward. Alright, we're seeing a loss of power from the turbocharger now. Loss of power on the turbo. Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Green flag, we're racing again, let's go. Okay, we've been informed of an incident which has resulted in lots of loose debris on the track. A safety car is being deployed. There's a new strategy available on the MFD. Okay, copy that. Okay, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast. Reduce your pace. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. That's Latifi just ahead. Push for the position. They're on old mediums. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:29.2. P19, you have P19 now. It's Latifi ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 11.8 seconds. They're on old mediums. Ocon's behind you. Our gap behind is 10.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. And that's 23 laps to go. Gap to your teammate ahead is 2.2 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in 12th. And the time last lap was a 1:43.8. Return the position immediately or we're going to get penalised. There's no overtaking during the safety car period. Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. Safety car in this lap. Okay, the incident's been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on. We're currently trailing our teammate by 1.5 seconds. Nice move, keep going. DRS has been enabled, DRS is now enabled. Okay, there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time and there are so far no plans for a safety car. Gap to the car in front is 2.4 seconds. Albon ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 2.1 seconds. They're on old mediums. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:23.8. Okay, we're dropping back by around 4/10 a lap. Give it everything you got. Albon's ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 1.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:23.8. Okay, we're dropping back by around 4/10 a lap. Give it everything you got. Albon just ahead. Push for that position. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 1.2 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 11 laps old now. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:24.5. 1.2 seconds advantage per lap. Keep going. Oscar is into the pit lane. Oscar in the pits. Okay, Sainz is ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 2.0 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 12 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:23.4. All right, you're falling back by 1/10 a lap. That's Hamilton behind. Okay, the gap behind is 13.7 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are just one lap old. Your last lap time was a 1:42.3. Caution, caution. The track is clear, green flag. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 34.6 seconds. First position, front of the pack. Hamilton's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 11.6 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 13 laps to go. Hamilton's behind you now. Our gap behind is 10.3 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Time last lap was a 1:22.5. Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. You're leading the pack, that's P1. That's Hamilton behind. Okay, the gap behind is 7.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Your last lap time was a 1:22.4. First position, front of the pack. Hamilton's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 5.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Hamilton's behind you now. Our gap behind is 1.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. Time last lap was a 1 minute 22.2. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, we've lost a position, that's us down a place.